All right, let's talk about something that can feel like a total black box, your credit score. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain, demystify the whole thing, and give you the 5 essential rules you absolutely need to know to build great credit. Let's get right into it.
Does your score ever feel like some random number that just bounces around for reasons you can't quite pin down? Like it's a secret code you were never given the key to? Yeah, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. It can feel really intimidating, but I promise you, it is not nearly as random as it seems.
Because here's the secret. It's not a mystery at all. The whole system is built on really clear principles. And once you get them, you're the one in the driver's seat. So today, we're going to unlock that system with 5 simple but powerful rules. To crack the code, you need the formula, right? Well, we're about to walk through the official FICO score model. This is the one that 90% of top lenders use when they're making decisions. So what you're about to see, it's the blueprint for your entire score. And here it is. This chart is the key to everything. Your score is built from these 5 factors, but they are not created equal. Just look at that biggest slice of the pie, payment history, a whopping 35%. Right behind it, amounts owed at 30%. The other 3, length of history, new credit, and credit mix, they make up the rest. Honestly, just understanding this one chart is the biggest step you can take.
So let's focus where it really matters. Those first 2 things, payment history and amounts owed, they add up to 65% of your entire score. That's huge. If you can just master these 2, you are most of the way to having a fantastic credit profile.
Okay, let's start with the undisputed heavyweight champion, payment history. It's 35% of your score for a very simple reason. Lenders just want to know if you're reliable. Their number one question is, do you pay your bills on time? It's that simple. So the most powerful thing you can do is pay every single bill on time every single month. Even one late payment can have a really big negative impact.
Okay, now for the second biggest piece of the puzzle, coming in at 30% of your score, amounts owed. Now, this might sound like it's just about how much debt you have, but it's actually more nuanced than that. It's really about how much of your available credit you're using, which brings us to a really critical idea. And that idea is your credit utilization ratio. All that means is it's the total you owe on your cards divided by your total credit limit.
This single number tells lenders how much you're relying on that credit. Are you, maxing things out, or do you have plenty of breathing room? So what's the magic number? Well, financial experts pretty much all agree on this one. Your target is to keep your credit utilization below 30%. Anything higher than that can be a red flag for lenders. It might suggest you're a bit overextended and maybe a higher risk. Okay, look at this because it's a perfect example of a really common mistake. So let's say you've got 2 cards and a totally healthy 30% utilization. You do the smart thing and pay off one card, but then you close the account. Look what happens. Even though your debt went down, your total credit limit just plummeted. And your utilization, it skyrockets to 67%, which can seriously ding your score. This shows why your total available credit is just as important as your balance. All right, we've covered the big 65%. Let's move on to the other 3 factors and see how the rest of this works. Think of these as the elements that let you fine-tune your score and build a really solid, resilient credit profile for the long haul. Next up, clocking in at 15% is the length of your credit history. And when it comes to credit, a longer track record is almost always better. FICO looks at how old your oldest account is, your newest, and the average of all of them. And this is exactly why closing an old card can be so tricky. Sure, a closed account in good standing can stand your report for up to 10 years, but it's not part of that average age of open accounts calculation, which can pull your average down. So, when should you keep an old card versus when should you close it? Well, it's kind of a balancing act. You definitely want to keep a card open if it's your oldest one, or if closing it would spike that utilization ratio we just talked about. But if a card has a huge annual fee that isn't giving you value, or it just tempts you to overspend, yeah, it might be time to say goodbye. Next on the list is credit mix, worth 10% of your score. Think of this one as portfolio diversity. Lenders like to see that you can responsibly handle more than just one type of debt. It shows you're financially versatile. So credit basically comes in 2 main flavors. First, you've got revolving credit. Think credit cards. You have a limit, and you can borrow and repay and borrow again. Then there's installment credit. This is like a mortgage or a car loan. You borrow a fixed amount one time, and you pay it back in these regular chunks. Having a good track record with both types is definitely a plus for your score. But this brings up a super important piece of real-world advice. A Reddit user on the credit subreddit put it perfectly: never take out a loan you don't need just to improve your credit mix. Seriously, That small potential boost to your score is not worth paying real interest on a loan you didn't need in the first place. This part of your score should build naturally over time.
And that brings us to our final factor, also worth 10%, new credit. This category is all about how often you're applying for new lines of credit. If you open a whole bunch of new accounts in a short period of time, it can look a little risky. It might signal to lenders that you're in some kind of financial trouble or taking on too much debt at once.
So this leads to a pretty common question. How many cards is too many? And yeah, applying for a bunch all at once can ding your score, but there really isn't a single magic number of cards to have. But here's the most important thing to remember. The number of cards you have matters way, way less than how responsibly you use the ones you've got.
So we've cracked the code. We walked through all 5 factors. Now, let's bring it all home and boil this down into those simple, actionable rules we promised at the very beginning.
At the end of the day, it all comes down to this: the 5 rules for great credit. Rule number 1, pay on time. Every time, no exceptions. That's your payment history. Rule 2, keep your balances low. Keep that utilization under 30%. That's your amounts owed. Rule 3, build a long history. And think twice, maybe 3 times, before closing those old cards. Rule 4, only apply for new credit when you actually need it. And rule number 5, let a healthy credit mix develop naturally over time. Don't force it. You follow these 5 rules, you're not just playing the game, you're playing to win.
So there you have it. The mystery is gone. You've got the blueprint. The system is literally designed to reward responsible financial behavior. So the question isn't just about what you know anymore, it's about what you're going to do. Looking at those 5 rules, what is the one habit, the one small change you can start today to begin building the credit score you really want? Thanks for tuning in.